In any disaster or SHTF situation, people will panic, as we all know, and they'll rush to buy whatever they think is going to help them survive. This often will lead to store shelves being completely wiped out in a matter of hours. And even if you're already prepping pretty solidly, knowing what items are going to disappear the fastest can help you stay ahead of that crowd. So, we are going to cover the goods that are essential that are going to disappear fastest and first, no matter what type of emergency strikes, and why it's important to be prepared for when disaster hits. And you can compare your supplies that you have to the items on this list, and there may be a couple things that you didn't think about that you need to add. Fuel and fuel additives. Fuel shortages are an absolute given in any serious situation, whether it's gasoline or diesel for vehicles and generators, propane for camp stoves and heaters, or firewood for cooking and warmth. All types of fuel disappears fast. And people will absolutely rush to fill up their gas tanks, leaving those gas stations empty of all fuel within hours. And propane and butane, both of which are used for grills and small cooking appliances, also become scarce. And once they're gone, it may take a long time to restock because they aren't produced as quickly or in the same quantity as gasoline. And that's if there's any ability to produce these items left after an SHTF situation, who knows? Having a few extra filled gas cans or a solid supply of firewood could make a huge difference. And of course, food. Food is often the very first thing to go during an emergency, and it's not just the canned goods or the dry goods. Bread, milk, eggs, fresh produce, and other perishable items will fly off the shelves, which is kind of dumb because they're not going to last very long, but that's beside the point. They fly off the shelves. Non preppers, those that aren't educated on prepping, will grab whatever they can, even if it doesn't have a long shelf life. Canned goods, dried foods like pasta and rice, snacks like crackers and chips are all going to disappear quickly. And baby food and formula are especially important if you have small children, and also pet food if you have fur babies. So it's wise to have a good stock of whatever works best for your family. Of course, there's cash. In crises, especially ones that involve disruptions of power or banking systems, cash becomes essential. ATMs may be shut down, credit card machines might not work, banks may be closed. Having at least $500 in small bills, like ones and fives, a couple tens, can prevent you from overpaying if merchants can't provide change. Cash is still going to be king, at least at first, if things fall apart. And so being able to quickly purchase what you need can be a lifesaver. Medications. Both prescription and OTC medications are going to disappear extremely fast. People who rely on regular medication for chronic issues will panic and they will rush to refill their prescriptions, and possibly even without having the insurance company pay for it, they'll just pay for it out of pocket because they're so panicked, and especially if they think the pharmacies are going to close. And common pain relievers, fever reducers, stomach medications, and children's medicines are also going to vanish. During colder months, expect those medications to go as well. So, cold, flu, decongestants, they will all be in high demand. Having a stockpile of essential meds and first aid supplies is, of course, crucial. Toilet paper and hygiene products, we've seen this one already. We all remember the toilet paper shortage and panic a couple of years ago, and it's likely to happen again in an emergency. People tend to think about two things: eating and staying clean. So, toilet paper, paper towels, and paper plates are going to vanish quickly. Items like trash bags, especially the heavy duty ones, will be valuable for sanitation if garbage services aren't running. Stock up on enough hygiene products to last through at least a short term event. Power supplies and tools. Generators are going to be some of the first items to disappear because people are going to anticipate a power outage. This happens all the time when there is a threat of a hurricane. And even though, generators are super expensive, I'll see it all the time. Every time there's a storm possibly coming, Lowe's and Home Depot will roll all those generators out towards the front because they know they're gonna sell a ton of them. People have the money to spend when it's an emergency. And of course, along with generators, batteries, flashlights, and battery-powered lanterns and solar items all will be snatched up. If it's summer, expect more leaning towards fans and things to keep cool you off. And if it's winter, expect people to grab things like portable heaters. Camp stoves and the adapters that let you use larger propane tanks are also in high demand. It's always smart to have backup power solutions ready to go. Hunting gear, fishing gear, and water supply containers. If the situation is one where people are concerned about food shortages, hunting and fishing gear will suddenly become very popular. Even in less severe crises, hunting equipment, fishing poles, and other sporting goods sell out as people seek to secure their food sources. Water storage containers and filtration units like water filters are also crucial, especially if there are concerns about the water supply. Building materials and tools. If people think that there's a possibility of damage to the home or they want to protect the home, for instance, a hurricane or a storm, or they're afraid of marauding people, building materials are going to disappear fast. Plywood, lumber, nails, screws, tarps, those are all commonly bought in bulk before a major weather situation like a hurricane. It will also get bought in bulk if there are concerns about mobs. And don't forget, chainsaws and axes could also end up being in high demand. Sporting goods and firearms. Rising crime, civil unrest will cause a surge in demand for firearms and ammunition. People who are concerned about safety will buy up all the guns and ammo they can get. And this can also include things like body armor and gas masks, so expect your Army surplus stores to take a big, huge hit. And obviously, if you are not already thoroughly prepared for personal safety, definitely wanna do that ahead of the game. You wanna do that now, because it's gonna be super difficult to get some of this stuff if that type of crisis occurs. Alcohol and tobacco. When things get stressful, people will turn to alcohol and to tobacco to try to calm them down. So look for those things to sell out in any type of crisis. They'll seek ways to cope with anxiety and uncertainty through alcohol and tobacco. Um, Unfortunately, that's just the way things are. So stock up on that beforehand. Plastic sheeting and duct tape. Plastic sheeting, like the kind that painters use, and duct tape is gonna sell out fast as well, depending on the situation. However, I will say, not every situation, this is going to be something that sells out. If somebody's concerned about, sealing their windows or making an emergency repair, or creating a makeshift shelter if there's been damage or contamination. As we already know, in any major emergency, disaster, or SHTF situation, panic buying is going to happen. And being prepared before the shelves are empty can save you a lot of stress and make sure that you and your family have what you need to survive.